What I would like to share with you is where Infraco is going, what our plans are. We have had a recent, slightly more difficult history, but we are a force to be reckoned with as we move forward as an organization. Okay. I've been at Broadband Infraco for roughly 6 months. The organization had been set up a few years previously. It makes use of predominantly Eskom and Transnet fiber optic network infrastructure to provide a wholesale set of services. And what we've done in this process, if we have had to address some governance shortcomings, we are putting the organization on the right track. I will be able to demonstrate to you some of our new value propositions. We are focused on delivering both a commercial mandate as well as a mandate to underserviced areas. So in part, Lars, your message about reaching people all throughout the country is partly a mandate that we have to deliver. And I would like to share a little bit of how we would do that. Just a short introduction to Infraco. Then I'd like to just go through a short slide on realigning the organization, our existing customer base, our new value propositions, our plans in terms of capital rollout, the network infrastructure that we provide, and then I'll finish with a short conclusion. Broadband Infraco is a state-led initiative in the telecom sector, and it's intended to improve market efficiency in the long-distance connectivity segment. For those of you who know the history of South Africa, telecom really dominated this sector for many, many years. And the focus of Infraco was to provide a competitor. There are now a number of competitors in this space, and at the long-distance network arena is an ability to provide capacity to stimulate private sector development. So this was a state-led initiative that was not there to dominate the sector. It was there to support other initiatives by the private sector in the telecom sector, as well as to provide long-distance national and international connectivity to underserviced areas and to the broader subcontinent as a whole. Our business comprises two elements: a long-distance fiber optic network in which we provide high-capacity telecom services between all major national metropolitan centers, as well as to a number of smaller cities and towns. An international maritime cable, which is our partial ownership of an 11% share in WAX, which is between South Africa and the United Kingdom. It's been a challenging 6 months in Broadband Infraco. We've had to address a number of quite deep and quite serious governance shortcomings. One of the challenges that the private sector doesn't always fully comprehend is the difficulty of sustaining PFMA compliance within a sector and within a company that must compete head-on-head with others that are in the private sector. It's not impossible to do, but it does represent a challenge. Most of the shortcomings in our organization relate to our compliance to the Public Finance Management Act. We've done a lot of work to address these. We've instituted a number of governance structures. We've put in place the correct policy and procedures. We've brought on board a number of skilled people across the organization to deal with these issues. At an executive level, we have restructured the organization. We have a new chief technical officer, a new chief financial officer, a new sales and marketing officer, and a governance which has explicit responsibility, an executive which has explicit responsibility for governance. This executive team has a lot of deep experience, knowledge of the sector. We are very confident that they can lead this organization to the next level of being able to deliver against our mandate. Part of the focus for restructuring the organization has been to deal with the governance shortcomings that I've mentioned. But perhaps a more important focus has been to deal with our new value propositions and align the organization much more closely to the market demands that are put on it. We have a number of customers that continue to use us, and we regard these customers as both important. We meet their minimum service level objectives well. We continue to do this. This part of the organization continues to meet both these objectives on a day-to-day basis, but also exceed some expectations. Neotel remains our key customer. MTN, Liquid Telecoms, Morocco, the CSR, CCOM, Internet Technologies Namibia, Umzanyati Telecoms, all of these are customers that we've brought onto the network that are happy with the services that we provide and are talking to us about expanding some of those services. We've signed MSAs with a number of additional companies, Rigger, Powerline, Ucoms. We have a number of trials that are currently on our network or have just been completed in our network: Business Connection, Internet Solutions, Vodacom, Ccom, Cell C, RTN. What we're able to provide to these potential customers is an idea of the service dimension that we're able to offer. But we want to deepen and strengthen that service dimension as we move forward. And that really is encompassed in our new value propositions. Our value propositions aim to deliver much better engagement with the private sector. We wish to retain our space in this market as a wholesale carrier of carriers. We do not wish to compete in the retail environment. We plan to leverage Infraco's infrastructure and its servitudes to much better meet the needs of our customers. We'll do this through offering wider ranges of services aligned particularly to the bigger players, actively participate in projects which establish fiber connectivity at key traffic aggregation points such as data centers, network aggregation nodes, internet exchanges. We are already at some of these. We wish to expand this still further. We wish to enhance access to smaller towns and cities, which up until now have remained slightly underserviced. Some of these towns are very well located on our network. We're focusing on connecting African countries, particularly to the international undersea cables. And we wish to participate going forward in collaborative initiatives. We have a unique access to servitudes, powerline and rail servitudes that we would like to be able to use as the basis for addressing the needs of the telecoms environment. We're also collaborating very strongly with Centec. The collaboration initiatives are strong. We have a national and international fiber connectivity initiative with Centec. We are considering facilities sharing and co-location with Centec, who is also a state-owned company. And we have joint planning and engagement with particularly the public sector, such as provincial and municipal ICT initiatives. We're rolling out a pilot project in KZN where we're taking fiber optic and services right down to the level of individual schools, individual hospitals, police stations. On the basis of this pilot, we believe we can roll out pilots together with Centec and under the leadership of the DSC in a vast range of areas of South Africa. The following provides an overview of our value propositions. Previously, we focused on a backbone initiative. We really sold quite a narrow range of services from STM1 to STM64. We wish to expand our footprint so that we can deepen that initiative. We would wish to provide more managed services. Some routes in the future may extend to also providing dark fiber or lambda services. From a mobile backhaul perspective, provide fiber connectivity to mobile operators. I've already indicated that we'd like to go to switching centers. We'd also like to expand this to underserviced areas so that we can assist mobile operators to enhance the coverage of their own networks. These projects can either be done on a co-build or a paid-for basis or a collaborative basis. From a metro presence perspective, we are already engaging in a number of initiatives to partner for integration at metro fiber networks. We're talking to a number of the municipalities. We're talking to some private sector players about how we can do this. We provide backbone connectivity to metros as customers. And we use metro fiber to provide a complete wholesale network solution. Part of the challenge of our network is we don't have metro access networks. We don't intend building them, but we do wish to work with others in such a way that we can provide a more competent and a more overall network solution. From an African perspective, we want to connect neighboring African countries. We already run fiber and POPs up to the border site of every SADC country that neighbors South Africa. We wish to extend that. We have a number of customers that are cross-border customers. Again, there's a great amount of interest. Once WAX comes on board, we believe we can deepen this quite substantially. A longer-term focus is engineering services, active collaboration on fiber construction projects, particularly with other parts of government. As I've said before, leveraging rail and power line servitudes to gain maximum benefit from these. And there's a great amount of unique space across the country geographically where this is possible. Excuse me. We also have O&M services which people have shown an interest in. Our capital project rollout, we've had to curtail this over the last 6 months to a year. Part of the challenge with an organization that is faced with governance challenges is that You cannot expect the governance processes around procurement and capital project to roll out projects at the same time as you're trying to mend them. We have done what we can to ensure that the minimum capital investment takes place, but we've started to fix the machine, particularly procurement, capital project, our planning function, etc. And from next year, we wish to ramp up our capex up to just short of 1 billion in infrastructure. We believe we can make a contribution in this space very rapidly. We expect it to deliver a greater connectivity and redundancy to the borders. Having completed SALT and CAT as a component of the SKA network, we will focus on ongoing commitments to support projects of national importance. It's in fact written into our Act, so we would like to actively engage around this, and we are doing so with DST specifically. We're also working very closely with DOC in respect of a national broadband planning focus and the related initiatives. We're preparing to integrate our international connectivity, and we have an ongoing commitment towards mobilizing connectivity in underserviced areas. It's a key part of our mandate. The focus of our mandate is to have a commercially sustainable business with a strong focus on servicing underserviced areas. There's our network. The green illustrates the volume of traffic that we're carrying, in other words, the thickness of the lines. You can see some of the dotted lines indicate where we would provide additional network coverage, mostly to provide redundancy, but also to service smaller towns and cities. The northern part of the country represents for us still a challenge from Gauteng North. We are very keen to enter collaborative type initiatives to service these areas. Many of these areas are regarded as underserviced, and taking these initiatives to countries such as Botswana and Zimbabwe, Limpopo, represents a key part of our plan. As does, while I'm still on the slide, as does servicing the east and west coast submarine cables at Eiserfontein and Mtonzini. Our POP rollout map, this is what we hope to have in place from a POP perspective at the end of our financial year, so in other words March next year. We're driving very hard to have these POPs in place. They are located at all the major border sites, they're located at all the major metropolitan areas, and indeed even in some instances in smaller towns and cities. We're driving this exceptionally hard. We have a future roadmap for POP access, which includes a number of POP sites, some of them in remote or underserviced areas. I won't go through all the names, but you can see them represented on this map. You can see KwaZulu-Natal includes a number of POP sites. Part of the focus there is to support our pilot project with Centec in servicing underserviced areas. International connectivity, I've already spoken to this in some length. We hope we are a tier 1 investor, as are a number of other players sitting in this room. We believe that WAX is going to bring a lot to our network. We'll be able to sell capacity from an international perspective. We've got a lot of interest from a number of players outside South Africa as well as in Africa. We would like to see this as a key part of us being able to provide a terrestrial network with solid linkages into the international environment. In respect of pricing, we've seen pricing on long-distance networks fall dramatically. In the space that Infraco has been in, prices have dropped by in the region of 75 to 80%. They continue to drop. We expect that they will drop still further. Perhaps the message that I wanted to indicate from the slide is that as we analyze the environment, and we've done quite a lot of work around our own corporate planning and understanding where the market is going, we identify that what is likely to drop prices still further is volume growth, particularly volume growth that is based on providing last mile broadband access, and the success of that access in getting customers on board that start to download large quantities of data. So we expect that price is very dependent on this volume growth. And I think Lars showed us something which demonstrates the kind of data that one could expect at a mobile level. I think what this will do is push prices down significantly. We're ready for those price reductions. We have to play within a market that is very competitive, and we offer something that is competitive to this market, and we will continue to do so. Just in conclusion, we have a long-term commitment to enhancing broadband access. If you've heard from the ministers at DSC and at DPE, you'll see there's a strong focus on sustained state ownership. We have a new value proposition very much aligned to customer needs. We're focusing on bolstering connectivity, improving network reliability, and meeting the service level objectives of all our customers. So we would very much like to make your plans part of our plans. We'd love to talk to you. Please give us a call. We have a stand here. You're welcome to visit. Thank you very much.